You just woke up 10 minutes ago.
No, I'm playing. I'm playing.
I was gonna say,
I'm
but it was an
fresh.
afternoon nap.
Yeah.
Some people are like that though. Like I messaged my boy yesterday, and then he calls me at like 1 p.m. saying he's just woke up. Like
Mm.
that's such a mad schedule.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
prefer mornings, man. I'm way more of a morning person.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I call myself a morning person. Like I'm not one of those guys that can just get up at 6 and just feel fresh and just ready to go. I really have to force
Mm.
myself to get up early. But my
Mm.
I usually wake up between like 7 and 8. That's
Mm.
usually when I'm like
Mm.
getting up, getting out. I feel like that is still kind of early.
Yeah, that's pretty early. I think even in
Mm.
the winter, like getting up at that time is pretty hard, especially when like you
Yeah,
don't have to be somewhere, you know.
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I can also work. I feel like I'm all right at night. Like I'm not really mad tired at night. I get
Mm.
an afternoon crash, but at night, like, I, like, have you ever had those times where I don't know, you randomly just start cooking up at night and everything's just flowing?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
but it doesn't happen to me as much anymore. Usually
Mm,
by 10, I'm dead.
you're
Like I want to
gone.
sleep. I want to be sleeping. Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
no, maybe not even that late. Like, say if I wake up at 7,
Hmm.
sometimes in the evening around like 5, 6, I get like a second wind then, and I'm good to go again. I usually get my crash like afternoon times around like 2, 3. That's when
Mm.
I'm feeling a bit like drained, and then it just comes back for some reason, and I can just go for a few hours at night
Do you guys nap like in the middle of the day?
then. Ah,
I used to.
Wait,
did
it's a
you?
gem. Yeah, it's good. I've been doing that
I
recently.
used to, but I don't know. Lately, I haven't really felt the need to.
Mm.
I've never been a napper. I don't know if I don't know how you can switch off so easy. Like I can only sleep once I've like just finished my shit. I'm comfy. I'm in bed. I'm good to go. But
Mm.
I feel like napping. It's like you've got so much more shit to do in the day. I find it hard to switch off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sometimes it gives
that's
a
fair.
second window.
Yeah,
Yeah, sometimes like I'll hit that crash like you said, like I'll crash at like 4 p.m. It's weird because it's when it starts to get dark. I'm just like I just start dozing off. I'm like, "Right, I'll just take a quick nap, like half an hour, 20 minutes. It's not like a long one, but it
do you
just
set an
takes me
alarm?
like yeah. I'll set it for
Oh,
like
okay.
35 minutes because it'll take me like 10 minutes to actually get to sleep, and then
Mhm.
20 minutes, like half an hour from there, it's normally fine.
I know in some cultures they love napping, don't they? Like in some parts
Mm.
of Asia, it's like a big thing to nap. But I don't know, I've just never been able to. The only period where I was like trying to nap was when I was eating loads when my calories were mad high because I was just
Oh
stuffed all
yeah.
the time. And then I just felt drowsy. So in those,
Mm.
I remember I did go through a small phase where I had a few naps. I was like, something's not right here. I need to stop eating so much because I'm just tired all the time.
Yeah, it gets like that. Bulking season.
Yeah,
It's gonna be like that over Christmas
How
with
how is
food.
winter season been over there so far?
rainy, man.
It's
It's just
miserable.
like
Mm.
Yeah.
I was getting weather warnings the other day, but they milk it a
Yeah.
bit in the UK, don't they? Like it
Yeah.
was windy, but
They
I
said
didn't
there
need a
was
warning for it.
Storm Dara or something like that. It's gonna be, but it's not even gonna be where we are. I think it's southwest, and it's only for like it was like 3 a.m. till 11 a.m. today, and then that's like the only time where it's gonna be bad. But they
Yeah,
made it like UK wide news. Like it's gonna be a massive storm.
they love
It'll
to try to
be
scare you. Some
yeah,
and some parts do get like flooding and stuff, but for the most part, they just want to get everyone scared, don't they? They
yeah,
want everyone to panic. It's like it was windy, but it was fine.
Mm.
literally.
Fair enough, man.
It
But
gets
there's
mad over there though, doesn't it? Like the peak of rainy season, you can get some serious rain in Thailand, can't you?
Oh man, yeah. I think 2 weeks ago, I can't remember if I told you this, but it was raining like crazy. I was on the way to do a DJ, like a little DJ gig kind of thing, and it started raining. I'm just like, fuck. All right, I'm still gonna take the chance and try and make it. But
Hmm.
5 minutes into it, it was just raining way too much that I was completely soaked, and the water was really high.
Right.
Damn.
Like in the street there was flooding. Maybe
No
come
way.
up like I'd say 30 centimeters off the ground. And I got completely soaked, so I was just like, fuck this, I'm not going. I had to just wait it out on the side of the road for about an hour. And
Yeah.
then I finally went home, but just like completely soaked. Like I just jumped in the pool with clothes on, you know?
Damn.
Yeah, that's
It's
crazy.
not it
I, s-
at all.
I saw a video on TikTok in Thailand. I don't know whereabouts it was, but it was just the other day when it was raining like mad, and there was like a massive anaconda just in the streets, you know, because it
Ugh,
was like flooded so much. It was just like in the streets, like in the
No
nah,
water.
way.
Everyone was just filming it.
that is disgusting.
Would you freak out if you saw a snake?
Yeah.
Would you?
I'm not an animal guy at all, man.
Do you
I'm
remember
not
when
into it.
that it was it the goats that you were scared of
Oh yeah.
in Essex?
Yeah, I don't know, I'm not into it, innit? I remember one time in Bali, I was walking, we was on the beach here, and I was walking to the toilet. They had like a little porta cabin toilet. Start walking to it, and I just see this fat snake out of nowhere just slither into the porta cabin. I'm like,
Nope.
nah, I'm not even trying to be here anymore. I'm trying to go home. If I was 2 minutes late, I could have been in that porta cabin with the snake. That's fucked.
Those things
Yeah.
don't freak me out though. Like snakes don't anyway. I'm
Nah.
fine with snakes. Like nah, I'm alright with animals. Like I love animals. I just think shit's cool to see. Like lizards, snakes, spiders. I can't really fuck with spiders. Can't lie. I'm the one in the house that has to get rid of them. You know, if they step in the
Yeah,
house.
that kind of
Mm.
stuff is fine, I think. Like spider, I don't mind insects, cockroaches, spiders. You know how people jump and shit.
Yeah.
I'm
Like I
cool
can
with
hold
that.
tarantulas. I've held like tarantulas and stuff before.
But I
But
remember talking about that trip where you said I was scared of the goats. You went right up in the owl cage like it was nothing.
yeah, man. I
It
don't
flew straight
mind.
at you, did it?
Yeah, it did. It flew in my face.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just stuff doesn't really freak me out like that. I don't
Mm.
know
What
why. I've
about
just always
like
liked animals as a kid, and I didn't even have like pets as a kid. Really, I had a pet snake
Pets
at
is
one
calm
point.
though. Nah, you
Mm.
had a pet snake.
the pet
When
snake?
I was young, yeah. Just I remember I went to Canada to see my fam, and my cousin had a snake, and I thought it was so cool when I was a kid, and I was never allowed to get a dog or anything. So
Mm.
then when I came back, like my dad sort of wanted to have something, but my mum was like, nah. So we went to check out some snakes anyway, and we just told my mum that it wouldn't grow because when they're babies, they're only like that big. They're just really small. And we're like, yeah, it just
Mm.
kind of stays this size. And obviously, it did grow a lot. It did get pretty big, but but she ended up liking it. Like it was so chilled. You could just hold it. It was just pretty docile. Just
Mm.
chilled,
And
man.
it didn't bite or anything like this.
Never bit anyone. Shit on a few people, but never bit anyone.
Hmm.
What does snake shit look like? Just like normal shit.
Like droplets or
Nah,
something.
it was like it was weird. Like how can I describe it? Like some parts were like white and like slimy. It was kind of nasty. And
Ooh,
then some
Yeah.
dark bits. Yeah, it was pretty gross to be honest.
that's gross.
Dogs and cats I really like, but everything else not into. Not into monkeys. Not into cows are cool. Cows are really chill.
Yeah, they're chill.
They have like, and I like elephants as well. They have a really calm presence. Everything
Mm.
else, no, though.
Have you seen that video of that elephant who obviously it's been held in like captivity and stuff, and the people just, you know, the people that own it, they're like horrible to it, and eventually he just had it one day, and it turned around and stood on the owner, and he just put all his weight on it, and it
Oof.
literally just folded this guy in half, and you see his body like compressed.
Oh,
'Cause obviously it's so heavy, and yeah, literally just
Wow.
killed the guy. There's a few videos of it. I think Joe Rogan. I think I saw it on Joe Rogan. Well, they didn't show it, but then I found it online afterwards. I was intrigued.
Hmm.
I mean, if you're
It wasn't
abusing
like,
animals like that, you sort of deserve that shit, man.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, for sure, yeah. Like it wasn't.
Don't
To be
animal
fair, it wasn't like gory. It was just looked
Mm.
weird, you know.
It's folded.
don't,
Yeah,
don't
literally just
elephants
folded
have
the
a
guy.
very good memory as well because they live a very long time, right? They can live to 100 years easy.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
I think they
Yeah, that
do.
was crazy.
There was that thing going around. It was probably fake, but you know, there was that story going around where that elephant killed someone. It might have been the same one, but killed someone and then showed up at the funeral as well. I don't know if that's true.
In a suit.
Just to make sure.
Yeah. That's jokes.
But I
And,
guess you
have you
can't trust any really, can you? Like, you know,
No.
when you see people, for example, the ones that I find crazy, you'll find someone in Russia like hugging a bear.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
like,
that's just
fuck
stupid.
that. That's one
Yeah.
thing I couldn't do,
That's just stupid, man.
especially
And they're-
grizzly bears. I've
yeah,
seen
they've
like
got their
black bears
instincts.
before. Yeah,
Mm. Yeah,
they will
it's
fuck
insane.
you up.
Yeah, not the one.
I think they're like, I don't know what kind of. I think their strength is just ridiculous, isn't it? It's like we're like, to them we're like an insect that they could literally just crush us like at any whenever they want to. It's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
I don't know if you boys listened to it, but I think it was around like lockdown times. Seth Rogen had a podcast where he just had random people on telling interesting stories, and he had this one guy who was actually attacked by a bear, and I can't remember the full story, but he was out like somewhere where I don't know if he was like camping or just like hiking through, or I think he was on a bike actually, but he came across a grizzly bear, and it ended up attacking him. But this bear just had this guy's like fucking body, like torso, like in his mouth, so he was like chewing
Oh
him,
my gosh.
and he was just in the air hanging, and he still managed to go into his pocket and grab a knife and stab the bear. It didn't kill him, but somehow got away and managed to get on his bike. But obviously, he had like a massive like hole in his side. And the
Ooh,
way he was like describing the story was crazy. I don't know how anyone survived that. If you ever get a chance, just
Man,
go and listen to that. It's a crazy story. But to be
that is
imagine
brutal.
like being in the air in a bear's mouth whilst he's just like chewing at you. Ah, that's fucked.
No,
It was
that is
literally a
not the
nightmare.
one.
Yeah. Ugh.
That's a
Grim.
terrible.
Have you-
And anything with animals is just a terrible way to go, I think.
Oh yeah.
Shark bites, lions,
yeah.
tigers getting eaten. Nah. Get
Saw a video
swallowed by a
of-
snake or squeezed. Mm-mm.
Yeah, fuck that.
Squeezed to death. That'd be a horrible way to go.
Yeah, that
Hearing,
would be
like, your
grim.
ribs cracking and everything. I did see a video the other day of a guy. He was on like some weird boat. It was like not a pedalo, but it was like one that you push. You push the pedals like that, and he was just filming. And when he started filming, his feet were all bloody, and you could see like it had like bite holes in his foot. And then he's like speaking to the camera, and he was like, "Do you guys think I should clean my feet off?" And then he puts his foot over the edge and like sort of like washes the blood off, and he's like, "Here, sharky." And it must have been a shark bite that got him, and he was washing the blood off. I was like, "What are you doing?" Like,
Oh.
so stupid. But yeah, luckily it didn't get him.
What's wrong with people, man?
I know, crazy. What about like, I know you said you were like too scared of animals, Jay, but what if you got like a surprise? Let's say like like you don't realize, but there's like a tarantula like on your neck, or like an insect like on your neck, and then you don't know it's there until you see it like in a mirror or something. Like,
That would freak me out because that's happened before where in my house on the top floor there's like a rail where I can just hang up my clothes, so all my hoodies are pretty much like in the open. They're not in a wardrobe or anything. So there's been like a couple times where I've like grabbed a hoodie and put it on, and then there's been a spider like on my shoulder like that, and it has freaked me out in the moment. That's what I turned into a bitch, and I'm like, a little scream comes out.
yeah,
I think it's just the unexpectedness, isn't it? Like just
yeah,
that surprise, yeah, that could freak you out. Like if it's
Yeah,
a controlled environment, like I remember when I was in Thailand, we were doing a jungle trek, and the guy was like talking us through the different species and stuff, and this massive like spider came down, and he was holding it, saying it's not poisonous, and he was like, "Oh, anyone want to hold it?" So then I could hold that fine because I know it's not poisonous. He's passing it to me, so it's all good. But yeah, I think when you don't expect it, that's when it freaks you out.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I had a similar experience. I was it was when I was in Cyprus. I was up late just working, and then I was just making a few beats, and I went to the toilet, and then I turned the bathroom light on, and I was just faffing around. Then I looked up at the mirror, and there was a centipede like crawling down my neck. Like it was like this long. It was horrible, all the little legs.
That's
It
grim.
just freaked me out, and then yeah, I could not sleep that night. I kept any little like any little tickle, I could hear, I could feel it. I just, yeah, I could not sleep.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Yeah, it was grim. Yeah, man. Let's talk producing stuff. One of them podcasts again.
What animal would make the best beats? No.
Monkey.
Monkey,
Yeah, true.
yeah, definitely.
What have you guys been
Maybe-
working on?
Go on,
not
LB.
much.
Steady week.
Yeah. How about you, Ocean?
Just honestly hammering away at these tracks, just stacking them up.
Yeah.
Is that what you spend most of your day doing now then? Just working on tracks?
Pretty much, man. It's honestly, yeah, just fixing tracks, making tracks,
Mm-hmm.
and then if I need to do a bit of content, then I'll do some content. But I haven't really uploaded a lot recently because I've been focused on the tracks. But
Yeah.
that's pretty much the day.
I guess with the style of music you're making, it sort of takes that energy, doesn't it? Like you can spend hours and hours on one track. Whereas maybe if you're just making beats, you might not want to do that all day. Because,
Yeah,
I don't know, it's just a different thing, isn't it? Because maybe with you making a track all day, it could just involve a lot of mixing and automation, which isn't really like, oh, you've got to think of loads of melodies. But it's just a different type of creativity where you've got to think about, okay, where do I add this tension? Where do I release it? Like,
Yeah,
it seems
but
like there's so much mixing and automation involved.
yeah, it can be. And if I'm honest with you, my camera died, by the way. I'm gonna change the battery.
Okay.
Some days, some days it's kind of easy because the idea just
Mhm.
flows, and then you can just you can just follow it,
Yeah.
and you end up with a song. But sometimes I am sitting here and it feels a bit more mechanical, where I'm really trying to find what's working. Like, oh,
Right.
this chord ain't working. Let's keep going. Let's keep finding, just searching and searching. So that's why
Mhm.
sometimes it always takes a bit longer too, aside from all the technical stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see
But
that.
yeah.
When,
What
when you
about
do
you? What you been up
your
to?
tracks, do you master
Oh
them
yeah.
like as a finished track, or like what's the process for like the final export?
Yeah,
Soft clipper on the master.
I kind of mix. Well, I mix it to the best I can with what I've got because I'm also just using headphones at the moment. And then I put a basic master on it, but it's not the finalized version. It's still just a demo. If I'm gonna release it, or if I really wanna, okay, this is one I'm gonna take seriously, then I'll send it to someone and they'll master it for me. But it costs money, so I don't do it all the time.
Right.
Mm.
Because if I did that for every idea, then it can get kind of pricey.
Do
Yeah,
they
of
mix
course.
it as well, or they is just the master?
Mainly just the master.
Right.
Is that quite common in that world? Like, do a lot of people hire mastering engineers?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, people at the highest level don't even controversially make their own music. They'll hire
Mm.
producers to ghost produce the track
Yeah.
and then
Damn.
just use that track as their own and play it out and stuff. But I understand it because that when you get to that high level, yeah, and you're getting, let's say, 100 bags a show, 200 bags a show, and you could do a show every day,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you can't
that
really
time
be
to make
spending that
music.
time in the studio.
Yeah, that's true.
That's tough, man. I feel like if you get into, I guess it depends on what you get into it for, but let's say you get into it
Yeah.
because you just enjoy the whole production process. If you kind of like bucked out for the week,
Yeah.
kind of takes away the time. It's like, fuck, I guess kind of kill the passion for
Yeah.
it over time.
And some people do that, but
Mm.
yeah, look, there is a lot of ghost production, but definitely. Is my camera now? Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you're good.
Do you get do
the-
they get credits like the ghost producers still like do they get like a split, like splits and royalties and stuff?
Normally, yeah.
Right.
It's always down to negotiation, but normally, yeah.
That's what that Tom in Ibiza was saying that he does. When he came over, he was just telling me how things work over there with the DJs and everything. And he was saying something like that. Like, he's the guy that people call up, like, big producers are calling up to get him in a session. I think because he can work so fast as well. And he's, like, full of ideas.
Hmm.
Like maybe some people will like start a little idea, but they'll call someone like him in, and he'll do like most of the production, and then
Yeah.
like you said, they'll treat it as their big release,
Hmm.
which is kind of crazy for us to hear because we're like, man, if I was just, well, I guess it happens in hip hop as
But
well because you have like people like DJ Khaled, for example, technically
but
a
Yeah,
also
producer, you're
like
just
Timbaland.
putting a song together.
but
Yeah.
if you think of the biggest artists like Rihanna, Dua Lipa, whoever who's at that high level, they're not really in the studio writing songs. Like Rihanna doesn't write anything. She just comes and cuts
Yeah,
the song, right? She has songwriters and
Mm.
producers.
yeah, just
And
vocalist really.
DJs at that high level, I'm talking like a Getter or a Steve Aoki. They can produce and they do produce, but they're more of a brand, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
They're more like Rihanna. So that's where their time's well spent. But then someone like a Calvin Harris is actually more, a songwriter, producer,
Yeah, that's true.
and
I
he
guess
yeah,
you
will
get
write all
people
his stuff.
like Calvin Harris, like Mark Ronson, like people who they actually want to produce their own
Hmm.
tracks, and then yeah, I guess it just depends on what you want, really. If you want to
Yeah,
just
it,
do
it
more
really it's
business
really
side.
just what you want to do. I definitely prefer to make all my tracks.
Mm.
Collab, yeah, but for me, I think it's more, what's the word? You can really put your own personality into it.
more fulfilling.
Way more
Mm.
fulfilling. I see myself as a producer more than a DJ still.
Yeah,
DJing to me is just the performance side of it, but production, the music is really where it's at, in my opinion.
maybe
Mm.
because you're still on that learning journey as well, because you're still quite new to the genre. You're like, I don't know, you can't think about just passing it to someone else because you're not really learning from that. See, you get dopamine hits from learning, don't you? And just
That's true.
like
Yeah.
True.
acquiring new knowledge. So
Mm.
then maybe fast forward like 5, 10 years when you might consider yourself like an expert, for example, and then you want to spend more time DJing. You might think, you know what, let me bring in this guy for this, and I've got too many shows to deal with, so I
But
don't
then
really
at
have the
that point,
time to.
I'd rather just slow down releasing music
Oh, would you?
Mm.
and maybe just drop one or two songs here. I see producers do that, DJs do that too.
Yeah,
But yeah, I guess it really just depends on what you want out of it, what your brand is.
Mm.
yeah, of course.
Yeah, I guess you could probably get to a point as well where like you kind of like similar with beats, you kind of can just you could just do a track in your sleep, like kind of as muscle memory. So maybe you take like song starters from other producers or like
Yeah,
half ideas of tracks,
Hmm.
and then if it hits like your kind of criteria as like a vibe, certain instruments and I guess your like signature sound at that point, then maybe you can,
yeah,
I guess, do it
definitely.
that
I
way.
mean,
Um,
there's even some producers that completely do everything from scratch, like sound designing their leads and their synths, and
Yeah,
yeah,
which I think is kind of crazy. Like it's good, but I think that's so long.
yeah,
You're adding
very
so much more
technical.
to your process. Yeah,
mm,
so can get really granular. Can get
I don't know
as
who it
low.
was, but I remember someone talking, like someone in the EDM space was like, it was on a podcast and they were saying how hip hop producers will criticize each other for using loops, but then
Mhm.
in that space you get criticized for using presets. So it's like it's a whole nother level. Maybe this
Mm.
was like a while back when I heard the podcast, so maybe things have shifted now. But
Mhm.
I do remember people saying like even if you used presets and didn't design your own sounds, I don't know if it was like a specific subgenre or what, but in the
Mhm.
community you'd almost get criticized for it because you
Yeah,
haven't designed everything from scratch, which
but
is
then
mad.
in my opinion, that
yeah,
would
that's
make things
crazy.
so
You imagine that
boring.
like the comment section, like ours is like,
I
oh, all
know.
you do is use loops, bro. It's like, all you do is use presets, bro.
But you've seen that Diplo quote, right? Where it's like he keeps on going further and further back.
Oh, I finally
No?
watched. Did you guys listen to the Scott Storch, Scott Storch podcast on Joe
Yeah, it
Rogan?
was a good episode, wasn't it?
It was good. Yeah, it was funny. There
He's
was
got some
one part
crazy
that made me
stories, man.
Yeah, there was one part that made me laugh when he was talking about he had this massive party, and at the time DMX was living with him or staying with him
Oh, I
for
know
a
which one you
while,
say. I
and he
was
was like,
cracking up.
yeah, they were talking about his old, like he lived like the high life, on drugs and
Yeah,
everything, and he said at that point it was like peak drug life, and same for DMX, like he was kind of on crack, and um Scott Storch was on cocaine, and it was like they were both like trying to help each other. But he said it was like it was the blind leading the blind. Scott Storch is there saying like, "Bro, you gotta get off that stuff, man!" Like whilst he's sniffing the line of coke. I was dying.
Yeah, he has some funny stories about DMX. We also had that
Yeah.
one where Pamela Anderson showed up at his
Yeah.
house. And Scott
Yeah.
Storch was like, "No way." So he was like, X, come look at this. And then said he just comes down from upstairs and looks outside and just goes, "Baywatch." And then just goes back
Baywatch.
up.
Walks off. Yeah.
He'll have the baddest stories. For someone that's
They
like,
were-
he was at the
making
top.
bread.
Oh,
making so much
crazy
bank.
money. He was
Crazy money, man.
bought a yacht. He was like, had like 10 plus cars, like all those fastest cars you can think of. Like, he was going crazy. But I think he just blew most of it on hookers and coke, man.
Mm-hmm. I think that's like an example of of like getting too much money before you have like your foundation set, I guess, and you just want to have like you just want to, I guess, look a certain way to the public.
Yeah. And maybe thinking it will never stop as well.
Yeah.
Like, if you're getting used to a certain amount of money, you probably think this is forever, so it doesn't matter what I spend.
Yeah. I think it's similar, not as on the same level, but I think T-Pain had a similar problem. Like he was making good money, and then people around him were saying, "Yeah, the only way is up. Like it doesn't go down from here." And then he
Yeah.
just kept spending money like crazy, and then wound up with nothing.
I wonder what... I always think about this, because it works on all levels, doesn't it? Like, say, for
Yeah.
example, if you have... Even for us, like, when we have some, like, good months, like Black Friday period or something like that, like, you don't get those months every month. And then we don't know what our situation's going to be like in another 2 years as well. I always think about that. I always think, okay, shit's going all right now, but is it going to last forever? But that kind of forces you to not go too crazy with it and just spend everything.
Mm.
Whereas, yeah, maybe if I was like younger, like say if I was like 18, 19, and then I started making loads of money, I probably would have just spent everything.
Mm.
Yeah, no, definitely. You just haven't. It's also like, imagine you come from nothing and then you start
Yeah.
making millions,
Mm.
and you don't know how to deal with money. It's tough, man.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. I think boxers struggle with that quite a lot, or fighters in general, because they normally come
I think
from.
everyone just in life, unless you're educated on money, a lot
Yeah,
of the
for
times
sure.
you will just make a lot of mistakes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they don't teach that in school, do they? Like, you'll learn a little bit. You do some maths, but no one really gives you proper financial education. I don't know what it's like now in school, but we never had that, like, proper financial education anyway.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was all very surface level. If it wasn't very in depth.
I don't think there was anything. We didn't know about stocks and investing and anything like that.
Nah.
That's something that you got to learn. And even that,
We had a
like, it's a lot.
we had a subject called citizenship, and I think it touched on some stuff, but it was so basic. It was just like, you pay tax once a year, and then they didn't really explain what tax was. It was very just like surface level stuff. Didn't really help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of
There's
what we do is just through trial and error. And that's how we learn.
Yeah,
We
very
kind of
much.
just learn when we cross the bridge.
Yeah, 100%. I don't think the resources were there like they are now, though. Because
Yeah.
I think, obviously, we had books and stuff, but now as a kid, you've got so much access to other resources. It's not just school, is it? You have Gary V shouting at you to, like, step up your marketing game. But then there's, like, in any space you can think of, like, there's so much to learn from.
Yeah.
Almost too much. It's like information overload now. But I think that
Yeah.
people, I don't know if they get smarter quicker, but you see a lot of, like, young entrepreneurs now, especially compared to when we were growing up.
Yeah,
And that's
definitely.
probably because, well, a mix really, it's probably because it's social media is what it is today. But then you also get access to all this other information and education. I think if we had Chat GPT growing up,
It'd be different, wouldn't it? I think it's
you
strange.
can
It's
literally
like,
learn anything.
I don't know what do you guys prefer? Like, I don't know if I prefer. I think I prefer growing up not having the information, and then like only because that way you only kind of have one path. Whereas these days there's so much information and there's so many different ways you can sort of build your own career and do your own thing that you just there's so much input that you just it's like overwhelming. A lot like younger producers that like I'll speak to, um, they never know which way to go. Like coming up like young and up and coming producers, they don't know whether to go like the sample kit route or placement
Hmm.
route or the sync route or um selling type beats route or you know what I mean. Like there's so many
Yeah.
different lanes for them and like there's good information on everything. And then it's like oh yeah, I know how to do everything, but I just don't know which one to do.
Mhm.
I quite like it though. I think I'd probably prefer to have the options because if it was just one path, I get it makes it simpler, but it can make it harder because then everyone's fighting for the same space then. Where it's
I
like,
guess
if
I guess
imagine if the
so.
only path was just placements, like
I
we'd be
guess
thinking,
what yeah, what I kind of mean is it's like not the paths are still there, but because you're around less influences and like
hmm,
maybe you get yourself in a studio with a certain person and you just learn from that one person,
oh, okay, right,
and they're like yeah this is the like kind of like a good path to pursue.
this is the way.
Yeah, and you kind of
I hear
figure
that.
that one path out and then you move on to the next one, next one, next one.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I think that's cool as well. You know, like when you hear stories of the older producers coming up, it was all very more like close mentorships, right? Like you managed to get
Yeah,
Mm.
a mentorship in a studio and you learn directly under them, and then one day you finally get your opportunity to engineer a big rapper, and then things change, blah
Yeah.
blah blah. That's cool. I think I'm more lean towards the new age though with the information and that because I feel like it's a bit more in your hands.
more in
Yeah.
our control, I think. Yeah, for sure.
You
Yeah,
can really
definitely.
tailor the information to what you truly and really want.
Yeah,
And it's not easy. I don't think any path is necessarily easy. I don't think it was necessarily easier back then to now or vice versa. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, there's so much more information now, it's easier." To an extent, yeah. But yeah, I think having the access to learn exactly what you want, I think is cooler.
Yeah, it's easier to learn. Like it's easier for people to get good, but it's not. It's still not easy. It's never. I think it'll ever be easy to build a career out of
no,
a
it's
certain
never
skill.
easy.
Yeah,
It's definitely never easy.
yeah.
Same with
So would you?
artists as well. Like I think the path for artists now, even though a lot of people complain about having to make TikTok videos, like we spoke about this before, but before this whole social media era, it was like you'd have to send music into blog sites. And that's when you really had like gatekeepers. You had to
Yeah,
send
there's
music
way
into
more
like blog
gatekeepers
sites.
back then.
You had
Yeah,
to People were out on the streets trying to sell CDs. Like I've done that
But what do you
before
think
when I
about
had
that?
mixtapes back in the day. I've been in the
yeah.
streets like trying to sell mixtapes. Like how many artists you think would even try that now? To be like, oh,
But
if you want to get your music out there, you've got to take your CDs, go into town and approach random people who don't know who you are. Like that's a
Mm,
scary feeling. If
yeah,
you
but
could
what
just
what
be
do
at
you
a
think
comp,
about that though, in terms of because I've heard people say it was better when there was gatekeepers to now where there's no gatekeepers and everyone and anyone can upload.
I think it's better now because I think
Hmm.
it's like everyone's got a chance to shine now, and it's like if your music is really good, then it people will hear it, people will pick up on it. Obviously, the
I
situations
don't
where,
necessarily agree with that though. I
well,
don't
obviously it's
necessarily
the
think if
algorithm, isn't
it's
it? Algorithm doesn't always just push good music, so it is like you
I
have to be
think
a
it's just the
content
best
creator as
packaging,
well.
honestly. I think
Mm.
just it's got to be the song has to be good, but apart from that, I just think the packaging has to be good too. It just has to
Like
resonate in some way.
it's always kind of been the package though. Like even back in the
Yeah,
days when you were relying on labels to sign you, like they were
mm,
looking for a
that's very
package.
true.
They weren't just thinking, okay, does this guy can he rap? It was like, what's he gonna look like in a music video? Like it's
mm.
always been about a package.
But I guess the monetization way is like a bit more confusing these days for like an up and coming artist. Like, let's say they blow up and they're getting like crazy streams. Like the amount they if an artist blew up back in the day, they can like sell albums and like the I guess the profits and like apparently the profits and that were crazier back then just because it was all hard copies and literally just had to sell physical albums. Whereas now, like I saw a little clip from this. There's this Instagram page called Sync Money, and they're like
Hmm.
the guy who does his content is like really into like the back end stuff with like streams and stuff, and he was saying that the CEO made more money this year than like any artist has ever made on Spotify. Plus, all the shareholders have made more money than any artist. It's like we're like
Mm.
right at the bottom of the barrel these days. Whereas back in the day, it was kind of like it seemed a bit different.
Yeah, back in the
But,
day,
but
producers were getting crazy bread for beats and stuff like
yeah,
that.
producers were for beats,
Producers,
But but
definitely.
but even artists for sure, they were getting way more money back in the day. But I imagine as well, now at least anyone can make money with their music, regardless of how big they are, right? They could earn a little
mm,
change. Whereas back in the
Yeah,
day, you would have to have an investment to get those hard copy CDs. And that's
yeah,
already like
yeah,
a
for sure.
huge barrier.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. But
But
it's
yeah.
tricky, isn't it?
the
It's
whole
hard.
monetization thing with streams is a bit, it's not perfect right now. It's not, it needs to be fixed because Spotify,
Mm,
it's amazing, but it kind of solved the problem for, okay, let's just stop pirating music. And it's good for consumers where they can just go and listen to music, but it's not fixed for the artist yet of actually getting paid good money,
mm,
unless you're at the top.
I don't know though. There's a lot of artists who are getting like good streams and making good money off it. I'm not saying like streaming's like amazing. Like yeah, you can like the way they pay people is great, but I think a lot of the people who complain about not getting paid from streams probably aren't getting that many streams. Because when you
No,
meet people who are
100%.
actually getting good streams, they are actually earning good money. And there's a lot of people, especially if you're independent, because when you're with a label, obviously there's a good chance they're owning the majority of the masters, and a lot of the streaming revenue sort of goes into like that master side of the royalties. So of course, yeah, those artists aren't getting as much from it. But if you're an independent artist getting good streams, you're actually making good money.
You're making good money, but it's not compared to what independents used to get if they were actually
mm,
selling hard copies, you know? Like, I was listening to a podcast recently. There's a really, really good songwriting one. I can't remember who it's by, but I definitely recommend people to check it out. He's had Benny
Mm,
Blanco, he's had Ryan Tedder, he's had a few other people.
right.
And they're talking about like when they used to write hit songs back in the day, you're getting crazy money. Whereas like now, you're getting good money, especially if you've just come from nothing and now you're getting paid. It's great. But it's
Yeah.
nothing like what it was back then. Like back then, you write a hit, that's like
Yeah.
generational
Could
kind
hear
of
that.
money. Whereas like now, it's just really, really good money.
yeah, yeah. I guess
I
like
hear that.
yeah, but Quincy Jones was caking it back in the day.
Well,
Absolutely caking it.
well, everyone though,
It's just
really.
different time, innit?
Pharrell just
Yeah.
commanding 100K for a beat.
Mm,
Yeah.
People just selling their beat packs. You want this beat pack? All right, wire over 50K. That's your beat pack.
mm.
Producers
And
were
it,
getting way more. I'd have to
Now,
yeah,
maybe see a breakdown for artists.
now you're not getting paid until the song drops, if it ever drops.
yeah,
True.
and even then it's more than likely going to be a late payment. Like it takes a
Unless
while
you're at
to
the
like
top.
negotiate. Yeah. It's tricky, man.
There's not many like super producers these days. I can't think of any producer that was getting like Timberland money and Scott Storch money, Dr. Dre. Like who's
Mm.
maybe there's a
I don't know if
few
the
at the
industry
top.
is there anymore.
Mm,
Yeah, I heard someone
Even
explain like they think it's because it's moving so quick all the time that producers a new sound comes in, but then everyone's onto the next sound, and then like it takes producers, understandably, it takes producers a long time to like change their sound, and not many producers really want to do that. You know, like think back to Timberland, even Metro Boomin vibes. Like there's the type of beat, DJ Mustard, and whereas now it's like like a new jazz beat will drop, blow up, and then okay, that's boring now. Next style, and then that producer's redundant. It's like it's kind of crazy.
I guess there's more fast-paced waves.
Mm. I guess pop's always going to be there, rock. But yeah, it's just crazy how quickly things move.
I always wonder how AI is going to affect us as well. Because some days I'm like, no, it's cool. Like it's just going to help us. I think like people always want some sort of like human element to music, because that's like one of the things that sort of keeps us alive and keeps us human. You know what I mean? Like actually creating music, anything like creative like that. Like even with like digital art, like AI art, is cool, but I think people will always like to see something that a human's done compared to what a robot's done in the long term,
Yeah,
anyway.
for sure.
But sometimes I just think about like how AI is going to affect the world in general. Like I think in 10 years' time, things are just going to look so different to what we're used to.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, look at like rewind 10 years from now, like it looks so different.
Yeah,
Like, just in terms of the way you work and like the processes and stuff. Yeah, it moves quick.
you're not going to be able to trust anything. I don't know if you've seen like some of the newer like AI images that have been generated, and you literally can't tell the difference. It's so human like the stuff that you put into like Chat GPT and OpenSea, is it? Like some of those you can still tell it's AI because it still looks quite like fictional. But then there's some
Mm.
platforms that are generating like real photos where it's like, yo, this just looks like us, like it's crazy.
Yeah.
And then you're getting like weirdos who are like creating AI nude versions of girls and then like messaging them and trying to like blackmail them and stuff, where it just literally looks like a new picture of them. It's like, what is happening? This world's like turning
Yeah.
crazy.
It is crazy, man.
Wow. Yeah,
It's
that's a bit
crazy. Because I
nuts.
guess like the more advanced it gets and like the better it gets, I think it just opened because like there's always going to be scammers, there's always going to be that side of it, the darker side. It's like the
Yeah,
better the AI gets, like the more sophisticated, the like
dark side,
crazier
guess.
the scammers get. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
literally I was on a call the other day with a producer for the mentorship stuff, and at the end of it, I sent him a link to my calendar just to book in another call, and the link said like suspicious link. It was literally just like a Calendly link,
Mm-hmm.
but on his end for some reason he said it was like a strange link, and he said, "Bro, is this a scam?" And I was like. It's like, no, definitely not. Even is it? He goes, is this? Are you AI? I was like, what? I was like, no. Genuinely thought I was like AI or something.
Yeah,
So
people are gonna struggle to like trust anything.
yeah, yeah, because there is like platforms where you have like an avatar that speak like an assistant, and you speak to it like on a video call, and it just replies like
Yeah,
kind of how a human would.
I was looking at building one for my creators club, just a chatbot, like a Cactus chatbot, just feeding it all the information that I've ever put out there. Just train it on like all of my knowledge and how I'd answer a question if someone asked me.
Mhm.
Mm.
But I don't know if I want it. There's like a part of me that's like, it's kind of weird, and also, is that like defeating the purpose of? Not that I'd leave the Cactus Creators Club, but I think people are in there because they can like ask me questions. I don't know if they'd want to ask a bot questions, even though it could be me and my voice. Because again, do we want that human interaction?
Yeah, I
Mm.
guess it just depends on what you want. If you want like more of a hands-off process, then it'd be beneficial. But yeah, if you
It's
want
probably
to,
just something extra to have. Like I'd still be there, but say if someone had a question at like 2 in the morning, they could just ask it, and they might get the answer they're looking for.
yeah, I guess maybe you can have like office hours where it's actually you, and then
Yeah,
if people need an answer right away, then then you can have the chatbot option. As
yeah,
long as they're aware of it, like it's fine.
that's true.
Yeah. So it's like anything, I guess. Just going back to the process of like what we were saying earlier, like how having like tons of information these days. Would you not say, because Ocean, you said earlier that having more information like at your disposal now is good because then once you know exactly what you want, you've got all the information there. But would you not say, like, I don't know about you guys, but earlier on, like in the initial like I guess like startup days have been of like trying to produce and make it a career. Like I didn't really know what I wanted. I kind of thought I knew, so I kind of pursued one lane, and then it kind of
Mm-hmm.
like changes over time. So like I guess my stance is, I guess my opinion is like, do you not think that not having as many options initially is slightly better than having like there's like 1,000 options when you don't really know what you want to do at that point?
But I think having the more options allows you to discover more what you actually want. Because if you just, these are the options and you don't like any of the options, then what do you do then?
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
I
At
guess
least
what you're
with the
saying,
new
though, is it gives you
information.
less to worry about. Like we spoke about decision fatigue, it almost doesn't give you decision fatigue
You don't
because
get that,
you
yeah,
can't make the
Yeah,
decision yourself.
because
But
you're still going to be producing. Like that's the core thing. You're still making beats. It's just I guess the business strategy. You don't have as many options. Like you don't think, okay, I need to engineer, or like I can start engineering now, or I can start aiming for placements long term. And do you know what I mean? Like it just narrows that entry barrier, especially if you've got a mentor. I think it just helps you like initially just get the balls rolling, I guess, and then you can kind of discover what you actually are leaning more towards later on down the line. I don't
it
know.
might
It
make
is
it
tricky.
simpler for that person who's got the mentor and going through that like narrow path. But I think that would just make it less accessible for more people because not everyone can
mm,
have a mentor. There's not that many people out there to mentor. So
Yeah, that's
yeah, I
true.
think I'd have to say like I'd always prefer a world where there's more options because I'm sure with you guys as well. Like I didn't even set off to do YouTube. But it's just like I like making music. I like making beats. Let me see where it takes me. And then you start focusing on
mm,
beats and sending stuff to artists, and then you start making a bit of content, and it takes you down this other path. And before you know it, you're in a
Mm.
completely different lane to what you set out to be in. And I
yeah.
kind of
And
like that. It's like there's
without
options.
like this new kind of school of information and internet, this wouldn't have been possible 20 years ago.
Nah,
So
Mm.
you wouldn't even be able to do this now. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
I
It
think
didn't
we'd all struggle.
exist.
Yeah, we'd all be fighting for those same studio sessions. There's only like so many artists out there to have sessions with. Imagine it was like that's the only path. It's like, and there's as many
It
producers as there were.
yeah,
Like yeah, yeah, like
it benefits some people and it doesn't benefit like it really just plays to some people's strengths and not because I think back in the day, if you was going to play the placement game, then you'd have to be able to, go to the big city, be able to really be good at really networking with people,
Mm.
have contacts for A&Rs and stuff, and be on good terms with the A&R so that your name gets brought up in conversations.
Yeah,
You know
I
what I'm
get that
saying?
side of it, but I guess my point is like, there's still those options, but I guess if there's like less information on how to get from like zero to full time in all of them, then I guess my point, I guess my what I mean is that it's like easy,
it
less
gives you a clear
less of
path
a,
essentially.
yeah. So like if it wasn't placements, if it was like you wanted to start a production company where you get producers in, even if it's like a home studio to record, you can track their vocals, it's almost like an all-in-one package, um where you can charge for per project, almost like work for hire. Then that could be like your lane, and there's no other like bigger distractions. Obviously you got to learn all the like how to engineer and all that kind of stuff, but that's like your only lane. That's just sole focus. You don't have to worry about, okay, or maybe I should build a sample pack business on the side and build all these other things out where you're kind of stretching
But
yourself. You can just
I don't think
like
that's the
fully zone
information
in on
problem.
one.
That's just a individual problem, right? And being just overwhelmed by being on the internet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I guess so. Yeah, that's true.
Because that is a thing too. I think, yeah, it can be overwhelming. And like you said, people just dragging you from side to side and you chasing the shiny object. But
Yeah,
I think
sounds like a
that's
person
where,
problem.
yeah, you kind of just got to find what works for you, but that's also just a part of the journey at the same time.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. You got like your gut, because you got, I guess, initially for all of us, and still to this day, like you have your gut's telling you to pursue like house and EDM, like techno stuff, and then yeah, I guess you have like your soul, like your main focus, and you should kind of know that at that point. So yeah, and there is people that are always going to have like decision, like not get paralyzed by making decisions and be perfectionists and overthinkers and don't start anything. So yeah,
mm-hmm.
I see what you mean.
What else then, boys?
I might have to dip off. I've got to pack my bags and stuff and get everything ready.
Yeah,
You
that's
guys
cool. We could
can,
wrap up there.
yeah,
That's
it's up to
cool.
you
We've been
guys.
running for like an hour, haven't we? So yeah,
Yeah,
we can make it a short and sweet one.
All right.
okie dokes.
All right then, boys. Good catching up. We'll see everyone
Yep.
next week.
Yeah.
Peace.
Take care.
Peace.